Chicago, baby. Chicago, baby.
What is up, my fellow Sackers? Wanted to get this tournament report out sooner than later, so it's like 2 in the morning right now. I got home from locals. I've been chilling. Want to record this for a while. Probably going to do more of these tournament reports going forward, but yeah, I just want to go over my run at Niagara. I kind of have like my notepad over there, and this is just the notepad I update like after every tournament, and you can see like my results for the year. Ever since Raleigh when I won, it's been a big bubble boy, like going X2 X3 at pretty much every tournament and just like sucking. Niagara though, we finally did it, broke the spree, so really happy about that. And yeah, didn't misplay. That's all it takes, just don't misplay. It's really hard, I feel like. And I think this is actually my first tournament where I can confidently say I did not misplay. Every other tournament, even the ones I've won, I've definitely misplayed at least once, especially the ones where I bubble. So this one feels really good. But yeah, going through the list is pretty standard, I say. The notable things are Chaos Orc, 2 Hamster and Charge. Normally it's just 1 and 1, or just 2 Hamster, and then double Deck Dev. So I wanted to put Chaos Orc in. I wanted an advantage in the mirror match and against Blackwing, and siding out. And I wanted to put in 2 Hamster, and Charge was so broken. Charge is just like unreal. So I wanted an easy side out for 2 Cyber and 2 Hamster, since GB's Hero Beat and Lightsworn are all kind of real right now. And so I wanted the 2 Cyber in for 2 Hamster. I thought that was really good, and Cyber was performing pretty well against random rogue matchups also, and into the mirror match and Blackwing going second. So I was just like, this is just too good of a like take out 2 Hamster, put in 2 Cyber, and Chaos Orc is still alive. So that's really good. And then I didn't want Oppression or Solemn in the main because I feel like they're a little inconsistent into Blackwing and Vayu, and I didn't want my cards to conflict with Gore's, Chaos Orc, Return, Dark Arm. So just ended up on this list. Realized DDV was also good into Blackwing, so I'm just like, this is just, in my head, this ended up being like the only viable list. There's some flex spots, obviously. Vayu always has the same old flex spots, but yeah, I tried the Virus build, tried that. And that just reaffirmed what I liked in Vayu. And tried Icarus, didn't like that card. I think that card is just inconsistent. It's really good when it's good, but it's really bad, really bad otherwise. But yeah, so I ended up with this. Going to change the side deck for sure. Probably take out Starlight Road from my body at the very least, and I don't know what I'm going to do with Kaiku, Rugs, whatnot. Yeah, it's gonna be another. Every tournament something always changes. The meta's always changing. Now Chris just runs on the map, so you gotta figure it out. But yeah, so YCS Niagara finished Swiss 7-1, finished 3rd in Swiss. Just shouts to like the Chicago guys that win, and Gary OG, because Gary dropped round 4 and watched all my matches afterward, like right behind me, and he like reconfirmed like I didn't misplay. So that just like that really drives your confidence. I feel like you really need confidence in a good support group. I feel like during tournament, I don't know how people can go to a tournament and do well. Shouts to Hector, because he won RBTLA and he flew solo from Chicago, so that guy's a freaking beast. I don't know how he did that. I feel like I need the post round like unwind, talk to your friends, and they also help you figure out like sometimes they know who you're playing against and they know what deck you're gonna be playing against. Like maybe they played them earlier, or they know them. Like they saw them earlier when they were scouting. So yeah, it helps a lot, man. Like having a support group helps a lot in my opinion. Anyway, I just want to go through my rounds. So round 1, play against Vayu Turbo. This guy's also from Chicago, but I've never met him before. But he doesn't play Edison too much, but I could tell he was a solid player. Just wasn't really familiar with Edison, I guess. I think his name's JP. Really nice guy. But yeah, I 2-0 him. Deck Dev went crazy in both games. That's all I'll say. Like, when you can get value off of Deck Dev on a like say your Kaius or Sirocco get like hit by a bottomless Deepris and you chain Deck Dev, you're in a really good spot normally. So yeah, 2-0 him, and then round 2 play against Vincent. He's playing Black Wings. Really nice guy. He's also now subbed to my Patreon, and we're gonna go over some replay reviews with him, and I'm excited to like talk to him. He's so chill. Yeah, 2-0 him. He didn't open Whirlwind either games. And game 1 I actually dust shooted him. So game 1 was really slow, and then game 2 was also slow. And I feel like when I play Vayu against Blackwings and it's slow, I feel like it's really easy for me to choke them out. Round 3, play against Frazier. I feel like everyone knows about this already. Game 1, I don't really remember game 1. I just remember him steamrolling me game 1, and there's really nothing I could do. I feel like my hand was pretty linear, and when you get the linear hands as Vayu, and then Frog Hero has their linear hands destroy your linear hands. Game 2, I remember stealing the game with a power card, either Burial Return or Dark Armed. I can't really remember. But then game 3, it gets to a point where I know, well, I don't know, but I'm like pretty confident his back row is Raigeki Break, and he had a Caius on the field, and my hand's pretty ass, and my only real play is summon Gale and have Caius. So I summon Gale, have Caius, attack, and he thinks for a bit, and then he does end up Raigeki breaking my Gale. So that Gale went like +2, because having Caius, making Caius a 1200 beater is essentially just like making that card not an issue. And then he had to pitch Miracle Fusion with Raigeki break, and he told me later he ends up drawing like his heroes right afterward. But when he pitched the Miracle Fusion, I was like, wow, so he has no heroes. His Kai's at 1200. Unless he has another Monarch, there's really not much he can do. That being said, my hand was still cheeks. It was like all trap cards. And I was like, man, if he drops another Monarch here, I'm going to be real in trouble. So I had to like set back row. So I was like, if I have to set back row and lose to heavy, I might as well just play into heavy. So I ended up doing that. He didn't have heavy, and I ended up drawing Armonite, and then that runs over Caius, which is really good. And yeah, it's just like he draws his heroes after it, but I already like have already established. So yeah, I win that game. So I get my run back against Frazier. Woo! Round 4, play against Vayu Turbo. So this guy that I played, I think his name's Brandon. Really, really nice dude. We talked earlier in the tournament. I think he just beat Gary. And then we have to play in game 1. We're both like hardling cards, and eventually I get to the point where I have to drop Dark Arm Dragon because I can't manipulate in my grave. So I have to just drop it. And then, but I'm pretty sure he has his own Dark Arm based on the way he was playing. So I have deck dev set though. So he had like 4 or 5 cards. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna deck dev him and hope to God I can hit a dark. So he goes to 4 darks. What I do end up hitting is a Raikou, and then he has Dark Arm and Chaos Sorcerer, and I didn't hit a dark, so he just kind of like GG'd me there. Game 2 was like a normal game where it was like slow back and forth, but no one really saw any power cards. And then game 3, I have Dark Arm in hand at one point, and I have Return set, and I have like 2 Sorokos in my banish, and he has a Soroko face up on the field. But the turn prior, he set 3 back row, and I heavied, he solemned, and then I get through the other 2 back row, and next turn he like summons Soroko and sets 2. And I was like, what the frick? Surely one of those is a bluff. And then when I summoned my Soroko and it got bottomless, I was like, dude, the next one's gotta be a bluff. There's like no way it's real. Because he would have said it if he had solemn set, so there's no way you're not setting the back row. So I have Return set with 2 darks in my graveyard. So I'm thinking, okay, I could bring back Sorokos and pump and tag over his Soroko for game. Or I could like Soroko crash, get 3 darks, special Dark Arm, blow up his board, and he has like no cards in hand. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I think he had like 1 card in hand. I was thinking for a really long time. There's people watching. I'm just like, oh my god, if that's D Prison, if somehow, some way he did not set a D Prison, and that actually is D Prison set, because I think Mirror was gone. So like the only card I'm afraid of is D Prison. I was like, dude, I'll look so dumb. I'll like literally lose the game. So I ended up settling on the safe play and just Soroko crashing. And it walked, so I was like, what the heck is that card? So then main phase 2, summon Dark Arm Dragon, pop the back row, ends up being Brain Control, pop the monster, ends up being Raikou, and then he can't get out of the situation. But yeah, I thought a really long time on that. That was scary. I don't know why that was so scary, I guess. Like, the Vayu Mirror is just so sacky, and I've been like punished so many times by like playing conservative, even though you should be playing conservative. But yeah, that was scary. Then round 5, play against another Vayu Turbo guy. I win game 1, and then game 2 I'm going second, and then I opened, and Sidra did work that game, but I think, oh yes, so game 2 I opened Sidra, and so essentially I ended up going first because Sidra trades with Raikou, and I set my own Raikou, but then he had Dark Arm Burial. Maybe not Broil, but I know for sure he had Dark Armed with a big push. And then game three, I can tell his hand's like not strong based on his body language, but he's not setting anything, and it's been like 3 turns. Like he's not setting back row, I should say. And then at one point he's thinking, and I just have an Armageddon Knight in a back row. He's thinking, and eventually he decides to heavy storm my one back row. He has value in graveyard. He decides to heavy my one back row, summon Sirocco and attack, and pass. And my hand, like I could pitch my whole hand. Like I could like special Greffer, pitch value, and then I have burial as well. So I could do everything and kill him if he doesn't have Gores. But I was like, he's not setting back rows, so I really do feel like he had Gores. But then I realized, wait, there's no way he would heavy storm one back row, summon Sirocco just to get a Sirocco attack over an Armageddon Knight. If he had Gores, he would just summon Sirocco attack, and if Sirocco doesn't walk, then he's gonna drop Gores and then heavy me on the clapback. And once I realized that, I was like, yeah, he doesn't have Gores, and then I just dropped everything, killed him. So that was how I knew after that round I was like locked in. Because I was already playing well, but then after that round, I was like, whoa. Like, I'm making reads. Like, I'm really, really, like, locked in. And Gary's watching now. It's round 5. He dropped after round 4. So he continues to watch me for the rest of the tournament and, like, continuously tells me, like, dude, you're playing well. You're not misplaying. Just a really big confidence booster going through a tournament. Really do believe, like, you need momentum. You need confidence and all that. I know some people don't believe in that kind of stuff, but I don't want to say Yu-Gi-Oh is like a sports sport, but it's definitely a mental sport at least, and you definitely need that stuff to play well. People brain fart all the time, and that stuff's really important in my opinion. Round 6, round 6 I had to play against Dirk. He was my only loss in Swiss. It's a pretty normal game, and then game 3 unfortunately I opened all monsters game 3, but I did have Kaiku. He went first game 3 and did like sub swap pass. And then I summon Kaiku and attack, and he tells me after the game, he told himself, like, oh, I lose to Kaiku. You better not have Kaiku, and I had Kaiku. But he rips Rhoda, and his hand was like 2 Monarchs, Miracle Fusion. And so he Rhodas for Ocean, special swap by pitching Ocean, summons Rise Up, sacking Swap Frog. So he bounces my Kaiku, and then slams Miracle Fusion, and I have all monsters, so I can't really do anything. And he had another Monarch afterwards. So yeah, that was just a clap. Nothing I could do there. Round 7 is Diva Hero. I forget who wins game 1 or game 2. This was definitely one. Dude, I rolled like 3 2s this tournament. It was like not real. I definitely rolled a 2 against this guy. I remember one of the games. I don't remember which game, but he definitely just like went crazy like turn 2. And then game 3, he goes first and he slams Future Fusion. And I was like, I lose. Like, it is so hard. Like, Chai and Jason used to play DB Hero a lot, and I know when you slam Future Fusion going first, if you don't have the second Mally in hand at least, you are cooking. But he just Future Fusions and passes, and I was like, oh, bless. Basically, I kill him before the App Zero comes out. So his hand was pretty dead. So yeah, that was really, really lucky. And then round 8, I'm sweating buckets, you know. I'm a big bubble boy. And so this guy, Enrique, really, really nice dude. And I've seen him, he's from Illinois, and I've seen him a few times, but I've never, like, talked to him. And he's playing, like, Frog, Fishborg, Stun hybrid. It's, like, Dream Frogs with, like, RMC Hunter, and, like, 2 Vandy's Fiend main and double Water Art. Like, turn 1, or I'm already flustered, actually, because he takes a long time to present his deck. He counts his main deck and side deck twice, and he gets there a little late. So I'm like, I really don't want to go in time. I don't know what he's playing yet, but I told him, like, hey, can you not count your main deck? Can you just count your side deck? Because I don't want to go in time. And he said, like, oh, we're not going to go into time. And then he water arts me, and I realized he's playing, you know, what I think is Dream Frog. And I told him, like, word for word, like, hey, I'm a little flustered because you said we wouldn't go into time, but you're literally playing a deck that's notorious for going to time. And he's like, well, I've never gone into time in my life or something. But yeah, it doesn't really matter because we even had like a life point argument that gave us an 11-minute time extension, which doesn't even end up mattering, honestly. So he wins game 1 after like 30 minutes, And shouts to Chai because Chai's like watching me, and he verbally confirms with the judge that like time is supposed to end or be called at like 7:15, like round's supposed to end at 7:15. And Chai like confirms like 3 times. He's like 7:15. He's like the judge's like yes 7:15. But then later after the round, Chai tells me like yeah that was supposed to end at like 7:02 or something. And because of that life point argument, we got an 11-minute time extension, and then so he wins game two or game one, I win game two, and then in game three, as I'm signing in for game three, another judge comes and it's like you guys have like I don't know like 2-3 minutes, and then we're like we have an 11-minute time extension. He's like yeah I know you still have like 2-3 minutes left. And then Chai and Marcus are like, no. The other judge said, like, time was supposed to be called at 7:15, so within 11 minutes they should be like 7:26. And the judge is like confused and finds the judge that was here. That judge apparently told us the wrong time. So on top of the 11-minute time extension, we got like an extra like 10 minutes, so we have like a 20-minute time extension. I was literally about to side out my return and solemn, and then after they told us that, he was like, "Oh, I'm putting back my return solemn," which is really funny because my hand game three, I'm going first, and my hand, or sorry, I'm going second. I don't know why I said going first, but my hand is. I just remember there's return, solemn, dark armed, Rhoda. I can't really remember what the other cards are, but basically I had to like straight up pass turn one, and then I draw Armageddon Knife for turn two. So I'm like, okay, summon Arma, pitch Vayu, and then I like set everything. And then he goes, and he had a back row set, and I summoned Arma Attack, and then set 4, thinking he's gonna like Raigeki Break or Dust Tornado end phase, and he doesn't. So I'm like, okay, that back row is probably like TT or Mirror Force, because I feel like you would just have to hit my Armageddon Knight, or else you're just locking your Treeborn. And then he goes and even tries to bring back Treeborn, and I'm like, no, you have a back row. So he special summons Swamp Frog in defense, and then summons Armed Sea Hunter and attack my Armageddon Knight. And I'm like, sure, like this is like great for me. And then next turn, I Rhoda for the second Arma Knight, summon the Arma Knight, dump Sirocco, so now my graveyard is 3 darks. And then, and he also set another back row. So he has 2 back row right now, including the old one that was set there that like kind of made him stuck. So I special Dark Arm Dragon, and then he asks priority, and I target the old back row, thinking it's like, it's obviously not chainable. So he chains the new back row, which is Torrential, and I Solemn. And the old back row is Mirror Force. So now I have deck dev set, and I have return. And I'm thinking, because there's like with return, like I'm trying to visualize my end board and how much damage I have, thinking if I can kill him. He's at 66 because he took an Arma hit. And I'm like thinking, there's so much pressure because there's like no cap. There's like probably like 25, 30 people watching. We're the last table. We're at table 2. We have the 20-minute time extension, so we're like literally the last table. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, if I win this game, I make top 8. I really don't want to misplay. I want to like triple, quadruple check all my math. Make sure I have enough monster zones for all these monsters and everything. Thinking like, is there a Brio play? Armageddon Knight's gonna send another card. What do I send with Armageddon Knight? Like I like making like sure I have my whole turn thought out before I slam a single card. I already slam a card, but yeah. But so I was thinking. It's like, how do I use deck dev? I want to check for Fader. I want to check for Gore. So basically, I end up making the most obvious play, which is just summon Armed Wing, deck dev, get rid of the Swamp Frog, check his hand. His hand is no Fader. There's no Gore. It's just like a Death Frog Econ, and I got rid of a Frog. So then I'm like triple checking my math. I'm like, yup. Flip return, and it's gonna be game. And when I flip return, Frazier comes out of nowhere behind me. I don't even know where the hell he came from. He's just like, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like, yeah, that's game. So yeah, that felt really good. Being under the microscope from a bunch of people and just playing correctly, even though it did take me a while. But yeah, that was crazy. That felt really good. So then afterward, Frazier top 2. I'm just like, holy cow, how did we both top? That's wild. We got out to dinner. Dinner was really, really good. It was, we all got drinks. Well, most of us got drinks. It was, it was obviously me, Frazier, Feng Shui, Chai, Jason, Marcus, Kevin Wu, and Gary, and Pro Storm. So yeah, it was just really, really good. We talked for a long time. Good food. Yeah, just really, really sick. And then we go back to the Airbnb. I'm like trying to figure out what to side because I know who I'm playing against. I'm playing against the Teledeck Konbawa. Shouts to him for getting second. But yeah, I was like thinking what to side, but then like Chai and Marcus played him, and they're like he plays kind of funny, so you're gonna have to like see how he plays. I'm like okay. But yeah, in top eight, I lose the die roll, and I dust shoot him going second, but he already went like Greffer pitch going first, so I dust shoot him and I see 4 trap cards. No, it's like return, mirror force, bottomless, bottomless. I'm like, what the heck? And you already pitched for Greffer, so he's like Mally Plague in the grave. So after I dust shoot, he just goes Stardust, set 4. And my only play is summon Gale, have Stardust, attack, but I have to attack into a mirror force that I know of. I don't have any other monsters. So I'm like, man, this is ass. Because I have a mirror force too, which is just not going to do anything to Stardust. But luckily, I draw Armageddon Knight, and I summon Armanite, run over the Stardust, but I can't like apply pressure later because he has 2 bottomlesses set, and I know he's returned, which is pretty annoying. Eventually, he Caiuses me, and I still have Mirror Force set. I don't Mirror Force the Caius because I'm like, I need this Mirror Force to get value if I want to win. Like, Mirror Force and Caius is not going to do anything, even though Caius is an issue. And then I set Raiko, and then he draws Plague Spreader, or was it Krebons? I think it's it's Krebons because he already banished for Plague. He draws Krebons and makes Dark End, banishes or gets rid of my Raiko, and I have D-Prison set now. And I'm like, I have to D-Prison. I'm gonna take too much damage, and Dark End is actually gonna be a problem. So I D-Prison it, and I know he's thinking, and I know he has return, so I'm thinking like, please return and put everything in attack mode because that's the only way I'm gonna win this game. And I feel like the Mirror Force has already been set for a while, and I didn't Mirror Force the Caius, so he thinks I don't have Mirror Force. So after thinking for a bit, he just returns and puts everything in attack mode and attacks, and I Mirror Force. So like he read that wrong. So I kind of like, I don't know if it's an outplay for me holding it, but I feel like it was. I like to tell myself it was at least. So I steal game 1. I should have lost that game for sure. He should have just put Plague and Mally in defense, just swing with Dark End because Dark End was lethal. And no matter what my 1 back row was, it has to stop it, and then he just makes like level 8. He should have just done that, but yeah. So I steal game 1. Game 2, he kind of like OTKs me because he goes first and goes. I think he went Stratos Decree. Is that a Stratos Decree or Greffer Decree? It doesn't matter because end phase he flips Decree and goes Brio Dark Armed, and I just cannot beat that. So he like turn 2 kills me, and then game 3. Game 3, this where Therio comes in, because I've thought about this situation a lot. So game 3, my hand is Allure, Brain, Caius, Greffer, Necro, Solemn. So I'm thinking like, should I Allure here? But I like all 3 cards because I want to go Greffer, pitch Necro, then Necro attack stop and summon Caius to hit a Recruiter or whatever, and that's really good against zombies. So I opt to not Allure. I just go Greffer, Necro, or Greffer, pitch Necro, dump Vayu. Don't want to dump Play because I don't want to give him Zombie Master plays. And I set Solemn. And I set Solemn thinking I must Solemn Kaiku because Kaiku's going to wreck my shit. I think that's the only card I want to Solemn unless he goes like something crazy turn 1. But he draws return and like frame 1 like slams MST. And I think for like 30 seconds, he thinks I have Mind Control or Mind Crush. I'm thinking, I'm like, chain Necrogarna, because this really feels like a Kaiku. Like the fact that you're MSTing me turn 1 as zombies with nothing except in the graveyard tells me you're about to pop the F off. It's really hard for you to pop off without a graveyard, so Kaiku is even more likely. And he did have Kaiku. So after I chain Necro, he's like, oh man, I don't like that. He's like thinking for like 2 minutes and eventually summons Kaiku and sets 1 back row. I rip MST, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to MST your back row, sack Greffer for Caius, attack, banish Kaiku, attack for 24. So he just took 34. And the next turn he T-sets. I rip another Caius, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to do a bunch of damage, and Brain Control is going to get me there. So I sack Caius for Caius, banish the monster, ends up being Goblin Zombie, and attack, and it goes through. Now he's at 1200, and I'm like, dude, like brain control is gonna seal this game. Well, apparently the back row was the card he just drew, which was Return, and then he ripped Krebons, and it's like, holy! He summons Krebons, flips Return, which is like literally the only card I think that would have, like, even if it was TT, I don't think it would matter. Like, still in a good spot if it was TT. Yeah, Return was like literally the only card. So he brings back Kaiku Goblin, sinks for Goyo. Kaiku attacks directly, goes for my value, makes Goyo, takes my Caius. And now my hand is Allure, Brain, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think it's just Allure, Brain. And draw for turn is Bombless. I'm like, of course. So I set everything and then blind Allure, and I'm like, I can get 2 monsters. I could get a monster in a battle trap. But I end up drawing Plague and Deck Dev, and I'm like, well, that's ass. So I have to banish Plague. I have to brain control Goyo to just take Caius back again, and then Deck Dev Caius. And yeah, it's just not enough. So yeah, that's how I lost. I feel like I had so many outs, and he really only had the one out for a Return. Not to try and take away his win. He did freaking great. He went through the gauntlet. He beat me, Marcus, Chai, and Frazier. It's like, that guy's insane. But yeah, I played really well, so I'm not like, I don't regret anything, obviously. So that feels great. But yeah, just wanted to give my tournament run, and then we got dinner after. Dinner was great. Again, with pretty much the same gang. Saw Niagara Falls, and then drove 8 hours back. And yeah, car ride with the boys is fun. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm not built for car rides, but yeah, no, it was fun. It was a good time. I hope to see everyone at Anaheim. Hoping to do well there again. I feel like I leveled up midway through the tournament. Not in terms of like my technical play, but in terms of just figuring out how to turn my brain on. And I hope I can do that again at Anaheim. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.